Hey YouTube land, Tycondrius here, doing another action figure review. Today we're looking at two of the Spin Master's recent Batman. Uh, I don't think it's called Cape Crusader sets anymore. I think it's just Batman. And this is the Combat Batman, which is the single carded figure. And we're having a look at the Transforming Batcycle Battle Pack, which contains a Batcycle, a Batman, and Killer Croc. So we'll have a quick look at the packaging. So the packaging for the single carded figure is the standard kind of packaging that we've known. Comes with that 3 hidden, blind box weapons, and it comes with the figure showcase on the front, which is a fairly standard affair. And then this battle pack, transforming battle pack set, comes in an open window box packaging. There's no plastic covering the figures, so they're, you can actually, Killer Croc is up here, Batman's over here, and the Batcycle is in here. There is, when you are taking it out, there's some little, I think they're supposed to be like bombs or some sort of canister things that go on the Batcycle. They're in underneath the packaging, just be aware of that. But if I just move that back behind, the packaging doesn't really give much other than the Killer Croc in the set is exclusive, and it just shows you what the Batcycle does. It's fairly plain. You have the bat symbol, if I do it the right way around, the bat symbol on the sides of the box, and that's pretty much it. There's a couple of small bit of instructions for the Batcycle as well on the bottom, just in case you didn't get it from the main box. So the figures themselves are standing around the 4-inch mark. So if I bring in my tape measure, we will have a quick look at that. So they're around 4. Killer Croc is a slight bit taller because he's a bigger character. He's like nearly 4.5-ish. And then the other Batman that comes in the bike set is 4. The bike itself stands just under the 3 inches, around roughly 3 inches to the handlebars, and then it's around 5.5 in length. And then when it transforms, it's a bit wider, so we'll have a look at that in a minute. But onto the single carded Batman figure. So you can see he is geared up here. Combat Batman is ready to go into hand-to-hand combat. He has a sword. He has one of the usually comically oversized batarangs, which is kind of a staple of this. The sword and shield are new for this character, new for this line. They have done this shield idea before. So if I bring in the older version of the shield, which is this one on this Batman, you can see it has a very similar look, and it does a very similar thing. So it splits into 2 wieldable swords. The top of the shield becomes the handles. There's a handle on the back, but the serrated edges just kind of click together and they become the shield. Very similar thing with this. You can see the Batman logo on it splits apart. You have these as handles, so you can use them as some sort of super oversized blades. And then on the back there is a handle, so you can hold it in his arm. And then the sword, again, is, as I said, is new. They have had swords before for characters like Deathstroke, and I think one of the Robins came with a sword, but it was a very plain katana looking thing. This one has a very more bat orientated, ornate handle, and that is pretty much it for his accessories. For the articulation on the figure itself, he has a head swivel. He has the arms can go out that much. They are blocked by the armor pad or the shoulder pad. Rotate around, single jointed elbow with a swivel. He has a peg hole on the back, so if you have some of the accessories from the other Batman figures, they will plug into that. He does have the knee, leg or hip articulation for kicking forward, not so much back because of the sculpting. Swivel on the thigh, single jointed knee with a swivel, nothing in the ankles and nothing in the wrists. So the sculpting on this guy is all new, from what I understand. This is the first edition of this guy, whereas this one is kind of standard Batsuit. It has been released, I think, nearly in every wave. I can't remember where I got this one. I think this might have been the one from the Batcave set, or was one of the Batmobiles. He's been packed in a few times. He's been repainted a few times, so this is kind of a more classic comic style coloring with the grey and blue. There's been several iterations of this one, and then for another Batman, this is one of the more modern ones. He has like more armored look, again quite different in looks, but then they have a kind of similar aesthetic, but they are differently sculpted, whereas the one that comes with the bike is quite a new figure altogether. I'm not sure if this guy's been released on his own, because he is quite a unique sculpt. The new design for the 12-inch figures kind of resemble this, so I have a feeling that the smaller ones, as in this 4-inch one, it will be this kind of going forward. They might redesign it again, do more armored versions, who knows. But again, similar articulation, head is on a swivel. Now the swivel on this is very tight, so you can just about move the head on it. I like the kind of blue glint to his mask. The cowl is like a very armored look. He has a look of that Nightmare Batman from the Justice League movies, where, you know, it's future Batman and he doesn't have all his gear or the full armored suit. He's like wearing that kind of trench coat, but he has like combat stuff all around him. So he has batarangs sculpted on his shoulder. He has what looks like a grapple launcher or pistol on his leg. He doesn't have like a full utility belt. He has like just a couple of pouches and stuff. He has what looks like grenade canisters on his other shoulder. He does look decked out. He's armored boots. He has the gauntlets. The gauntlets don't look like the same. They look like the gloves are the armored part, and then these are just strapped on afterwards, just over the gloves. They don't look as armored as the standard Batman, but he is same articulation, swivel in the shoulder, hinge joint for the shoulder as well, swivel in the wrist, or not wrist, swivel in the elbow with a hinge. That neck articulation can do the splits that much, can kick forward, has that thigh swivel. It's a bit more hidden on this side than it is on this side. And then you have the single jointed single jointed knee with the articulation point or the swivel, and then just peg holes on the bottom of the feet. Now, none of the figures come with figure stands. I do find that this particular Batman seems to have a wider stance. It could be just me because of the way the legs are thinner than the other one, but he does stand reasonably well. What's interesting as well is he doesn't come with any accessories. Some of the other battle pack sets I've done reviews of, they actually packed in a couple of Batman-esque Batman weapons. Like these, I believe, came with one of them, or this particular shield. There's a couple of like batarangs and stuff like that came with sets, but this particular set comes with none. On to Killer Croc himself. Now, he is kind of the star of the show. This is the second iteration of Killer Croc. He is just as limited in articulation as the first, but he has a slight bit more bulk and heft to him than the previous iteration, which I'll bring in a second. So his head is on a swivel. It does feel very restrictive, so just be careful. Arms can hinge out and rotate around, but you just have to make sure you clear the shoulder. There is a single joint elbow. The legs are on a swivel or on a ball joint, and there is a thigh swivel, but nothing in the knee, nothing in the ankle, and nothing in the wrist. With a lot of these larger bad guy characters, they tended to do this, which is a shame. Some of them had nothing in the legs at all. The original Clayface figure only had swivels in the waist. I think he had a swivel waist, actually. I could be wrong. But he only had like shoulder articulation. So the previous iteration of Killer Croc is this one. Now, I'm not sure if this is the... I don't think this is a single carded one. I do believe there was a single carded one, but I think this is again from a battle pack because he has the muddied feet, and I believe he's from the set with the muddied up Batman with the green armor and the Robin with kind of mud pattern on him as well. But you can see the height difference. There is a difference in height. This original Killer Croc had a swivel in the head, but it didn't have a full kind of good rotation because it just looked like he's twisting his head sideways as opposed to looking sideways. So you can get a good look to the side. Again, just similar articulation with the elbows and shoulders. And then again, similar articulation with the legs. Again, nothing in the knee. And these ones were a little bit harder to stand up. You have to get into the right position for them to stand. But he was He isn't as cool looking as the newer one. The newer one has that more crocodilian head. Kind of reminds me of a mix of the lizard from Spider-Man, but it has a really nicely sculpted look to it. You can even see there's tears on the pants, and it's on the artwork for the box, where it would have been nice if they had added extra paint apps, but it is a budget line, so they are unpainted. But if you were a bit dab handy, you could probably paint those in yourself. He does have a peg hole on the back, and any kind of backpack accessories should fit. And I believe the other one, yeah, the original one had that as well. Now, I don't believe there's any sort of actual action gimmick backpack that will fit this guy, because they did do a series of backpacks with kind of action gimmicks, like was a Tiger Claw had like a thing with claws on it, a Nightwing came with one, there's a couple of Batman, but I don't think this, because this guy's so big, I don't think any of those will fit. But the standard kind of smaller plug-in backpack pieces should fit, no bother. So that aside, we'll get on to the bike itself. So the bike itself is an interesting design. It's fairly simplistic. The wheels, the way the wheels are, is they're actually two separate pieces. So what it does is you just fold it aside, and then just push these canister bomb things out, and they just flop out. There is a flat section, so it is designed to only fit in one way. So when you fit them in, it should be, the flat section should go to the bottom, and you just pop them in. Actually, I think I have that the wrong way around, don't I? Yes, sorry, the flat section should be the top, because the bat symbol should be facing the right way around. So the flat section on these should be at the top here. So when this thing is fully, let me see if I can pop it onto Killer Croc and get the stand with it. So when that thing's deployed, bring the tape measure back in again. You see it goes to nearly 4.5 inches in width from the two sides. But it is fairly simplistic, and the best way to get Batman on it is you have to kind of widen out his legs, put him into kind of a seated position, and then there's control sticks that he can just about hold on to, so you can get him to drive the bike, no bother. It is bulky enough that it does kind of stay on the center mass. It might just tip over, but because these are so low to the ground where the canisters go, it doesn't make much of a difference. It will either just look like it's going for a turn, but for the most part it does tend to stay up on center mass, which is quite nice. So all in all, it is a nice set. I don't have any of the previous bikes handy. I might be able to get one without hopefully knocking everything over. So here is one of the other bike sort of sets that they did. You can see this one's much larger. I think this is the one from Mr. Freeze. I could be wrong, but like for a budget line, this thing isn't too bad. It's a nice bike, and any of the Batman figures should fit on it, no bother. But it's really, it depends on what you're buying this set for, because this new Batman is quite nice. The bike is nice enough, although it is a little kind of bulky looking. And then the Killer Croc figure is just really nice from the set. It's a really nice sculpt. I hope they might go and do this for some of the other characters, because as I said, the Clayface figure that they originally put out was pretty poor. It wasn't the best. Some of the King Shark figures are good, but they could have improved them. Like the original kind of King Shark has this kind of design to it. So this is a lot more meaner looking Killer Croc than the previous version, even though both characters are fairly decent. But overall, it's a nice set, and this Combat Batman is a nice set as well if you intend to pick him up. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this quick video review of the Batman Combat Batman and the Batman Transforming Batcycle Battle Pack. There is a Batmobile for this particular line, which I'm hoping to get a review done as well. It has a couple of gimmicks on it, and we'll get into that when it arrives. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video review, and as always, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Cheers, guys.